Hello everyone, it's been a hectic few days, and before I tell you what is going to happen over the horse that we hopefully will have here very soon, I want to put things in a little bit of context. We moved here in 2008, and in those early days we had a very good relationship with what was the major animal charity here, Spanner, and then when we started our own refuge in 2014 or just afterwards, we continued to enjoy a very good relationship. And I think that primarily was because the chief executive in London at the time was a man called Jeremy Hume, who knew Morocco very well. And although London Spanner and Morocco Spanner are two different associations, Morocco is almost like a franchise, but relies on London for its money. Because it relied on its money, Jeremy used to be here a lot, and he knew Morocco, he knew it inside out. And when he retired, over the years things have changed. And people might say, well, why are you going on about it now? And I feel I have no choice. I've been quiet for about a year, since they tried to sue me a year ago. But this morning I had a message from a Moroccan person, and this was very brave of her to speak up on social media, and it was in French. Now it's now translated, and I want to give her a voice because her voice is so important. It is really important. So let me read this to you. Bear with me. She wrote, "I agree with you, Susan, and all of you, but it's a shame to ask for all that money." She means the money the owner was asking for the horse, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. "Here they just abandon them or sell them to a butcher shop for a few coins. They are enjoying, but God will punish them and send them to the depths of hell. Spanner, at least Marrakesh, doesn't care. I found myself in Marrakesh, a disabled donkey, following an old accident, and I drove it to the Spanner just to keep it maximum of 2 days, time to figure it out. I obviously offered to pay the Spanner for this guard, and 2 times Dr. Hassan Lamrini, Akka chief vet, told me if he stayed there, he would be owned by Spanner and he would be euthanized. I took the donkey out of that hell, and it's been 6 years we've had a wonderful story. 2 vets visited the donkey. He even had an x-ray. He can live like this and without pain. Because this doctor didn't want to get clogged up, but to get his 4x4 washed with water and Spanner employees, he has time, what a show off, and carriage horse owners. Mostly money guides them. Without the Georgia Refuge and many individuals saving equines, many of the poor abused equines in Morocco would have died. When will Spanner in England open its eyes?" I've had several phone calls, I've had several messages from Moroccans. So let's look at the Kalesh situation. As I've said before, the Kaleshes here are the responsibility of Spanner. If there is abuse or neglect, they can ask the city council to intervene and confiscate the animal. For that reason, 2 of the horses last week had to go to Spanner. They were there no time at all, on their back working on the streets. And you'll see from my other posts, the one who has a very bad growth on the back of its hoof, we hope is coming here, it'll be here this weekend. And we've had to pay for it. Now you may say, why? Something's going wrong. Of course it is. What the really good Kalesh owners tell me at the moment, and they are prepared to give evidence if necessary, is that the Kalesh business in Marrakesh now is like a mafia. There are some old families who looked after their horses well, and would drive them years ago when the streets were not so busy, not so clogged up. But of course, as more tourists came, they saw a benefit in expanding, whoever made that decision. And now we have many more calèches, but many of them are just ridden by drivers who drive them like taxis, and the owners require so much money a day, so they have to make so much money before they can even earn money for themselves. And it's become cutthroat. Now, I want you to just bear with me for a moment, because it is the horse from calèche number 30 who hopefully will be coming here. Now, if you look at the number, so many years ago, they started licensing and numbering the calèches. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 30 will be a very old calèche, an old family, a family who has depended on that income. Now they're well up in the hundreds, nearly 200 plus. Now, if it is right, and if what I'm being told is that they have been having no help from the authorized agency, what are they to do? Once this growth started, they didn't know what it was. I don't know, we'll have to investigate. It might have been taken to Spanner and told it's okay. But now they know that their horse has got a chronic condition and shouldn't be working. They see to some extent we can help, and we can help by offering them some compensation at this stage, because they will have to keep their business running. Now, of course, like many of you, I would like to see no calèches at all. But practically, that's not going to be achieved overnight. There are really some good owners and drivers down there. And of course, a short-term solution may be that the City Council, in time, we could develop a plan whereby calèches are limited to certain streets and parks away from traffic. The number of calèches is reduced, and only those that are very well looked after are kept. But as it is at the moment, I've realised, and they're telling me, down on the ground, they're telling me, and I believe them, tourists aren't getting in these calèches anymore. They're not going to get in a calèche where they see an injured leg or a horse that looks so skinny it's going to fall over. These calèches are now being used by local people, as I've written, as cheap taxis. So the income for the calèche owners is reducing, but the expectation is still on the drivers to get the money and give it to the owners. It has become a mafia. So what are we to do? We identified the horse who has a parasitic condition that is chronic, and people were horrified when they saw it. I'm so glad that happened, because the city vet saw Spanner and made sure it went to Spanner for treatment, because they have a responsibility to treat them. He couldn't send it here. It would be quite wrong. He would be breaching all the regulations. And it's returned to the streets. Now, in all honesty, we can't just abandon it and leave it. So we are negotiating a price at the moment, and we hope there will be a benefit, because if you remember, Laurel and Hardy we had to buy, the two starving calèche horses, and they have become ambassadors for what can be done with the calèche horses. Everyone's thrilled, even many of the calèche drivers who see them now doing Liberty work here. And the one that we're going to take, we're going to call him John, Jon, and to some extent that's a thank you to John Sanchez, who is one of our partners in the States, and we've dedicated a stable block to him, a barn, and he is always so kind and immediately sent some money over, and it just seemed quite nice to call the horse John. We've had another donation from someone who wanted to buy the horse. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who's wanted to contribute. And taking this step, not everyone will agree with it, but it's the only way we can fight what's going on at the moment. Because once John is here, you will see his story, you will see what happens to him, you will see how he develops. It appears that the condition isn't treatable. Well, I want our vet to look at it. We'll see if there is something we can do. And I'm speaking up because somebody has to speak up, and people are frightened of speaking up. It's not doing me any good. Do I need all these horses? Do I need the stick I'm sure I'm going to get from Spanner, and I've got to consider that. But really, we have tried for so many years to engender a good relationship, and it has now gone sour. And really, we have to be the voice of the animals and the voice of the people who care for the animals, such as this lovely lady who spoke up on social media today. So thank you, and we will tell you more about John as soon as he arrives. Bye for now.